Hello, this is Olivier de Rivière. Today I want to showcase a little bit of South of Midnight for Hazel's Story, which is the main theme. And why do I want to do this? It's because it's hiding a lot of undertelling. I don't know. So basically, you have here the score. If you can read, I'm not sure. And here is the session recorded at Abbey Road with the London Contemporary Orchestra, and here at the studio. So it's a sort of like a blend of different places. And so why did I want to do this? It's because nobody talks about this, and I feel the urge that I explain because nobody is interested. So here you go. You have the main theme in itself is very easy. And the thing is, what is very important is the fact that it's about Hazel's and Hazel's sort of like growing in the game. She starts off with fighting with her mom, and through the whole game, she starts to understand that life is not just, this easy path of like good and evil. It's rather, a gray zone and a very complex journey, and therefore the music had to relate to this. So basically, it's a growing theme. It had to be, and therefore, it was meant to sort of like have this sort of like, sort of like. But as Hazel is, she's insecure. She doesn't know exactly what she's doing, and the world around her even less. She doesn't know about it. So the music had to sound like, to go from. And then, it's not part of the harmony, this is, it's not like very much part of it. It's still nice, So now we're stable and we're going back to the, and listen. So you have this. But it sounds nice, right? Because she's getting stability at some point. Oh, that was nice. This is very stable, very American, I would say. And so that's the theme overall. And the idea is to unfold the theme as you go with the music, at the very beginning of the game. But, this whole music tells the whole story. So you have at the beginning, so it's right there, only the guitars with a little ensemble in the orchestra. So no strings, not at all, just like a little bit of flavorish stuff here. But it's mainly the woodwinds that are doing the stuff with a little bit of the brass there. The trumpet in the back is doing this little, which is a very, in my view, the most interesting part. And then you have the guitar and the bass. So with the orchestra. So it's just like starting to be like moody stuff, and then starts. So that's the theme. Sorry, I played the bass and the piano. And that's the theme of Hazel, played by Robbie Marshall, clarinet. And he's playing, so he's here. It was overdubbed. We asked the clarinet player at the LSO not to play this, and he played that in Paris. So we had control, and also he made his own version of that, mostly for the second part, which was great. Jazz players, they're the same. They're the best. And so what happened is like he's playing the melody, but it's confusing. He's like going around. It's right there, here. So he's just going, but he's going. What I wrote like a little more. You know, he's like flourishing. So what's interesting here is the fact that you have the bass that goes like, you know, that's all the time. So I can play it. Super, and again. And instead of going, and go back. So something is there. So you have this idea of like, you hear it, you know, and remember, this is part of the theme because it's like, so here, that's there, that's the base of the melody. And why is it interesting? It's because next what happens is like, in this game, she's going to face something that is unknown and scary. And so now, out of the blue, there is something that feels completely off, which is this. Which feels wrong to some people, but it's not so wrong. It's just a flavor, because instead of going, it's there. You know, and it's just to create this uncertainty, this sort of like unsettled, this weird feeling. And of course, with the clarinet, we, you know, by hitting the, yes, I'm recording, by hitting the high timbre, you know, there is a sort of a scream. So this is it. So you heard it, and instead of going, it goes like that with, you know, so this is unsettling, but this is still the same figure, you know, in the bass. And next starts the real deal. So you have the same bass, listen. So if I go back from the very beginning and I play the bass, now you understand that this is just the same thing, but it's flavored differently, harmonically and melodically. But the idea is like, it's the beginning of her, let's say, realization. That's just the intro. Now we'll start. And and again. Okay, a little bit. Back. And now listen again. And again. There's a liberation. And there we go. So the melody is not clear, is now clearer. C sharp. And the melody, I'm lost. And little jazzy here. And now the melody. Same scene. See, it's just a repetition of the same thing. And the melody is now full on with the clarinet. and it's just the band with the banjo, bass, drums, clarinet. And I'm sorry I didn't put the score for the nerds. And now we have something that doesn't happen much. Instead of keeping the same key, we modulate. Just one tone up, you know? I don't want to play on top of this. So it's the same thing, just one tone up, which is very common in the 80s for the songs. And you have the melody on the strings. And now you're gonna have the melody on the strings with the big brass again, and the counter, with the trumpet. Let's see. Where are we? Right here. And back to the beginning. So that was it. It was just revisiting, just for me to explain a little bit of what is the mindset when you write a cue like this that needs to encompass everything about the main character, like the whole story of the main character. Thank you for watching.